So you've been thinking about picking up your life and moving to Spain. Maybe you've seen the Instagram posts, the sun-drenched terraces, the tapas, the afternoon siestas, and thought, okay, what is it actually like to live there? Not visit, not vacation, but actually build a life there. That's exactly what we're going to break down today. The real numbers, the real challenges, the visa paths, the safety situation, and honestly, who this country works for and who it doesn't. No fluff, no tourism brochure language, just the kind of information you actually need before making a decision this big. And if you're watching this series because you're genuinely exploring a move abroad, hit that like button and subscribe because we're going deep on countries all around the world in this exact format. Let's start with the thing everybody wants to know first. Money. How much does it actually cost to live in Spain? The honest answer is that it depends enormously on where you land. Spain is not a one-size-fits-all country when it comes to cost of living. If you're thinking about Barcelona or Madrid, you are looking at some of the more expensive cities in southern Europe. A decent one-bedroom apartment in a central neighborhood in either of those cities will run you somewhere between 1,200 and 1,800 euros per month in rent alone. That number has been climbing. Housing demand in both cities has been intense, driven partly by remote workers and international migration, which has pushed prices up noticeably over the past several years. Now pull back from the major metros and the picture changes fast. Cities like Valencia, Seville, Malaga, Bilbao, or Granada offer genuinely good quality of life at significantly lower price points. In those cities, a one-bedroom apartment in a livable, well-connected neighborhood might cost you anywhere from 700 to 1,100 euros per month. If you're willing to look at smaller towns or rural areas, you can push that number lower still. So what's the full monthly picture for a single person? If you're living in a secondary city and being reasonably sensible with money, you're looking at a total monthly budget of somewhere between 1,800 and 2,500 euros to live comfortably. That covers rent, groceries, utilities, local transport, health insurance, and having a social life. In the major cities, that comfortable figure climbs to around 2,500 to 3,500 euros depending on your lifestyle choices. Food is genuinely one of the great joys of living in Spain, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Eating at local restaurants, shopping at markets, and cooking at home keeps your food costs very manageable. Public transportation is solid in most major cities and relatively affordable. Healthcare, which we'll come back to, is another area where Spain genuinely delivers value. Now let's talk about the pros, because there are some real compelling reasons people choose Spain over other options. The lifestyle and climate combination is honestly hard to beat. Spain gets more hours of sunshine annually than almost anywhere else in Europe. The Mediterranean coast, the Canary Islands, the southern interior, these are places where outdoor living is built into the culture, not just a seasonal treat. The food culture alone is a quality of life upgrade for most people. Eating well, eating socially, taking time to actually enjoy meals rather than rushing, this is embedded in daily Spanish life in a way that genuinely affects how you feel day to day. Infrastructure quality is high. Spain has one of the most extensive high-speed rail networks in the world, connecting major cities efficiently and comfortably. Internet infrastructure is strong in urban areas. The public healthcare system, once you qualify for access, is genuinely excellent by global standards. Even private healthcare options for those who don't yet qualify for the public system are far more affordable than what you'd encounter in, say, the United States. For remote workers, Spain has positioned itself as an appealing destination. The digital nomad visa introduced in recent years created a formal legal pathway for people earning income from outside Spain to live there legitimately and potentially access certain tax benefits. We'll get into that in the visa section. The culture is warm and social. Spanish people are genuinely community-oriented, and while breaking into social circles takes time as it does anywhere, the culture is not cold or unwelcoming to newcomers. The expat communities in cities like Valencia, Barcelona, and the Costa del Sol are also large and well-established, which can ease the transition considerably. Now the cons, and there are some real ones worth taking seriously. Bureaucracy in Spain is notorious. If you've heard stories about this, they are not exaggerated. Getting anything official done, residency paperwork, tax registration, opening bank accounts, dealing with local government offices, can be a genuinely exhausting, slow, and sometimes confusing process. The system involves multiple layers of administration, appointments that take weeks to get, requirements for documents that require other documents to obtain, and occasional inconsistency in how the rules are applied across different regions. If you don't speak Spanish, this becomes significantly harder. If you do speak Spanish, it's still hard. Budgeting time and possibly hiring a local gestoria, which is essentially an administrative professional who handles bureaucratic processes on your behalf, is often money well spent. Language is a real consideration. Spain is not as English-friendly in daily life as, say, the Netherlands or Scandinavia. Outside of major tourist areas and large cities, you will need Spanish to function effectively. Even in cities, relying entirely on English will limit your ability to fully integrate, access services, and build genuine relationships. This isn't a deal breaker, but it's an honest reality check. Housing costs in Barcelona and Madrid specifically have become a pressure point not just for expats but for locals, and there's ongoing political and social tension around housing affordability. Some regional governments have introduced rent control measures with varying effectiveness, but affordability in the major cities remains a real challenge. Employment for those not working remotely or running their own business can be difficult. Local Spanish salaries are generally lower than Northern European equivalents. Unemployment rates have historically been higher than the EU average, and breaking into the local job market without Spanish fluency and EU work authorization is genuinely tough. Let's move into visas and residency because this is where a lot of people get stuck or make uninformed decisions. Spain offers several main pathways for people wanting to live there legally. If you're an EU citizen, you essentially walk in. You have a right to live and work in Spain without any special visa process, which makes Spain a particularly attractive option for Europeans from higher-wage countries looking to reduce their cost of living while staying within the EU framework. For non-EU citizens, the options are more varied. The tourist allowance lets most nationalities stay for up to 90 days within any 180-day period under the Schengen Agreement, but that's not a residency pathway. For those who want to actually live there long-term, the main options include the digital nomad visa, the non-lucrative visa, the golden visa, and the standard work visa pathway. The digital nomad visa is the most talked about for remote workers and freelancers. It requires demonstrating that you work remotely for clients or employers outside Spain, meeting a minimum income threshold roughly set at around twice the Spanish minimum wage or higher depending on circumstances, having valid health insurance, and a clean criminal background. It gives you an initial stay of 1 year, extendable, and opens the door to longer-term residency. One significant incentive is the Beckham law tax regime, which allows qualifying new residents to pay a flat 24% tax rate on Spanish-sourced income rather than the standard progressive rates that climb considerably higher. This can be financially significant for higher earners. The non-lucrative visa is the popular choice for retirees or those with passive income. It requires showing you have sufficient passive income or savings to support yourself without working in Spain. The income threshold is meaningful but not extreme, and this visa has historically been one of the more accessible pathways for financially independent movers. The golden visa exists for those making significant investment in Spain, traditionally tied to real estate purchases of 500,000 euros or more, though Spanish government discussions around potential changes to this program have been active. So verifying current requirements is essential before planning around it. The path to permanent residency in Spain generally requires 5 continuous years of legal residence, after which you can apply for long-time residency status. Spanish citizenship becomes possible after 10 years of legal residence for most nationalities, though some Latin American nationals have an accelerated 2-year path due to cultural and historical ties. The common challenge across all these pathways is the administrative burden we already discussed. Even well-prepared applicants sometimes hit unexpected delays or document requests. On safety, Spain is genuinely one of the safer countries in the world by global standards. Violent crime rates are low, political stability is solid, and the country functions as a stable Western European democracy. The primary crime concerns in tourist-heavy cities like Barcelona are pickpocketing and petty theft, which can be surprisingly common in busy areas, transit hubs, and tourist zones. Being street smart about your belongings in crowded environments is standard advice. Outside of pickpocketing hotspots, everyday life in Spain feels safe and relaxed. Healthcare reliability, particularly in public hospitals, is high, and the system is well regarded across Europe. So who is Spain actually a good fit for? Remote workers with a stable income source abroad will find Spain one of the most livable options in Europe, especially once the digital nomad visa pathway is navigated. The quality of life per euro spent, especially outside the major metros, is compelling. Retirees with adequate passive income, particularly those drawn to sunshine, good healthcare, and a slower pace of life, often thrive here, especially in coastal areas or smaller cities. Families benefit from good public education options, the family-centered culture, and the outdoor lifestyle. Entrepreneurs willing to navigate the bureaucratic setup process and operate internationally can do well, particularly in the tech and creative sectors in Madrid and Barcelona. If this breakdown is helping you figure out whether Spain might actually work for your situation, hit the like button and subscribe. We're covering dozens of countries in the same format, so if Spain doesn't end up being the right fit, the next option might be just a video away. Who might struggle? Those expecting a straightforward, quick bureaucratic experience. Those hoping to rely solely on English in all aspects of life. Those expecting salaries competitive with Northern Europe if they plan to work locally. Those with very tight budgets targeting only the major cities without flexibility on location. The bottom line on Spain is this: it rewards people who come with financial flexibility, some patience for process, and genuine openness to integrating into the culture and language. The lifestyle upside is real. The climate and food and social culture genuinely deliver what people imagine. The cost of living in the right location is very manageable for anyone owning in a stronger currency. But it is not a frictionless move, and managing expectations around bureaucracy and language upfront will save you real stress. The right decision on any international move comes down to your specific goals, your income structure, your family situation, and what you're actually optimizing for in your daily life. Spain checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people, but understanding the full picture before you commit is exactly what makes the difference between a move that transforms your life and one that becomes a logistical headache. If you're seriously exploring a life in Spain or you want to keep comparing options before making your decision, like this video and subscribe to follow the full series. We're going country by country with this exact level of depth, so you can actually compare real information and figure out where you belong.